a lot of times we come up with some pretty good solutions, and then we celebrate when the kids transition back to
Right.
their homeschool, and the whole school gives them a clap out, and everything's very exciting. But we also celebrate when they come in the door.
Yeah.
Yay, you're here. This is awesome.
Yeah.
And when they're getting character awards and such, it's nice to let them feel what we see when we see greatness. So we put it in writing, and we put it on a piece of paper, and we get them their picture. And so we have fun too. And I think that it's important because school is school. You don't like school, you don't like school. You don't have to have a behavior IEP to say, I don't like school.
Right.
School's tough.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Brighter Together podcast. My name is Janet Courtney, and my special guest today is Juliene Haskins. Juliene is the principal and special education supervisor at North Point Alternative Learning Center, and that's in Sandusky, Ohio. Which there's there's a big, oh my goodness, amusement park in Sandusky. Isn't there an amusement park?
Cedar Point. Yeah.
Cedar Point. Thank you. I'm like, I've been there. I was there when I was like 3. I think there's pictures of me with my dad in one of those little cars when I was 3. Oh my gosh, that's 55 years ago. And then when my kids were in high school, we went back and yeah. So I knew Sandusky for something, but
yeah, the
didn't make that
best
connection.
times are when my husband and I go and just eat our meal plan food and then find a place to sit, people watch, play Wordle.
Oh, fun. Yeah. Fun. So anyway, sorry, that was totally random, came out, but there you go. Anyway, so tell us a little bit, Juliene, about your experiences as how did you become a principal and a special education supervisor and all the other hats I'm sure you wore? And then tell us a little bit about the Alternative Learning Center that you work at.
Okay. I like to go backwards. Sometimes I read things backwards, but that's okay, right? So right now I am at the Alternative Learning Center as the principal, special needs supervisor, and then I wear all the hats, right? I'm supporting with everything that needs done. And anyone out there who runs a small unit understands that you wear all the hats. The year before this, I did the same thing in a different building called Greytown, and that learning center is also connected to our parent facility, which is an educational service center.
Okay.
And so I recently started working for educational service centers, and now I'm with North Point. I love working for an ESC. The supports that I get here are absolutely incredible, and the professional development is amazing for all of our people. So I do love that. Both these buildings are a facility where we serve kids in an environment that becomes their least restrictive environment. So they didn't have the successes that they could have where they were in their homeschool. And we work with them to give them the skills that they need socially, emotionally, behaviorally. And I think what's a little bit different about the homeschool they came from is that although we work with standards and we present curriculum at their level, we also scaffold down, meet them where they are. A lot of students, they all have a behavior IEP, a behavior goal on their IEP, and many of them also have academic goals. So we try to meet them where they are. But what's different, what I started to say, we can stop on a dime and support the needs in the moment with a lot of trauma-informed training. I did start here 2 years ago as school counselor and only did that for a year, and then we switched things up a little bit. We used to have 2 directors, and it just didn't make sense anymore. We all came together, felt that the needs could be met better for the students and their families to have someone directing each building. So I was at Greytown first, and then I came over here to the ALC.
Gotcha. Okay.
The year before that, I had great success with being a teacher coach an instructional coach.
Mhm.
Um, a very proud moment was with a teacher who had a ton of, probably the most in the district, discipline referrals. And so we just worked really hard on taking her love for data and finding all the good, finding the good, finding the good. And she was awarded Teacher of the Year that year. So
Awesome.
pretty
Wow.
cool, but I was bored too. I don't,
Mhm.
everybody who sees it and goes, "Really? Were you?" Yes, I was. I wanted maybe more keys to things and more responsibility because prior to that, I was also a principal for a behavior unit with emotional disturbances and IEPs for everyone, and that was through another ESC, the Southern Ohio ESC, and that was a great experience too. I started as an intervention specialist and then for 4 years was principal there. Prior to that, I taught English, and I tended to have the kids who struggled. I really liked that. Throughout my career in different places, I would develop programs that would help the kids who were the neediest and weren't weren't passing their classes necessarily.
Mhm.
Want to be in my study hall because I checked your grades, that kind of thing. Um, but I think when I started everything, I began to get my master's degree for principalship. And when it came up, it was a matter of I had been intervention specialist there for a year, and the principal let us know that she was leaving. And I was like, oh my gosh,
Oh, yeah.
I want
Yeah.
to do this. So it's very different being
Mhm.
in that role than teaching. Um, so I guess a couple of important things for me were the fact that I had a, a really good custodial staff person say to me when I started getting my license, he just said, please don't forget where you came from. Sometimes leaders
Mhm.
forget where they came from. And so that's always stuck with me.
Yeah.
And when someone's struggling, I try to go, I struggled too. I would not
Yeah.
go back to teaching right now.
Mhm.
I like
Mhm.
where I am and what I'm doing and what we can do together. So
Yeah.
I've been having a good time. I've been at it a long time. I tell everyone
Yeah.
100 years, I think. So
Yep, yep, a long time, a long time. You sound like me, you, like, love managing people and
Mhm.
making systems better and making things better for the kids because of what you're doing, so that's really cool. So, all of this, it sounds like you're in an area that some people go, "Nope, not me. I'm out. I'm out," when it comes to the hard, hard, hard kids. How do you keep yourself from banging your head against the wall sometimes and taking care of you when it's a tough job? And it doesn't even necessarily just have to be because you're in alternative learning, but how do you care? How do you make sure that you're okay? How did that
Right.
self-care? Yeah.
And that's a very good question. I think that you surround yourself with really smart uh, people who can do the things that need done. Um, a lot of delegating and a lot of trust. And
Mhm.
I've been fortunate to be in situations where the people around me are brilliant and they know what they're doing. And then the kind of family atmosphere in the school is super important so that we can look out for each other. Um, I used to just take my work home all the time, and I got to a point where I realized I'm just packing up to take it home to look at one thing, and I decided, okay, just take one thing. Take
Mhm.
one thing so that if you feel like you have to keep working, you can keep working. Plus, on our phones, the work is
Yeah, it's
always
with you
there.
anyway. Yeah,
All the
yeah.
emails and I think
I
for
know.
me, addressing them at night and when they come in is helpful so that I don't like to have a whole lot on my plate first thing in the morning. I like to just kinda get through it as I go. Doesn't always work, but sometimes it does. And I think just looking at things from a kind of a happiness perspective is very helpful so that you can see the good when it doesn't look like it's as good as it could be. See the good and want that and move toward that always. I think that's helpful for me. And family allowing me to do this
Yeah.
this work. This work is a lot. It's intense And I've been very supported all the way around. That gets me through. So I try to be that support for people who might not have as much. And I I find that that's challenging and important work to do too.
Mhm. I always
So,
tell people here at Lighthouse, you start as an entrepreneur, and you have all of these. I've said this a million times on the show, I think, but all of these spinning plates that you're trying to manage, all the different departments and all the things, and a plate wobbles, and that's the one that's get the attention. I got to do HR, I got to do hiring, I got to do whatever contracts, whatever it is, pay the bills, whatever. And then as we've grown, I've been able to give all of those plates away, but God always brings me the right person,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
you end up with all of these amazing people. And like you said, you trust them to do their job, and you end up with such an incredible team. And it does have a family atmosphere because they know that I trust them to do their job, and they want us to be successful. So they do an amazing job, and they want me to be proud of them. And it's like, I'm already proud of you because you're amazing. But
right.
it's such an amazing, it's such a great work environment. And we don't live in the same place because we're all over the United States. But we come into these meetings, yeah, because we're virtual. So, I started in Michigan. So I got a ton of people in Michigan that I absolutely love and that are family to me. And then I'm in South Texas now, and I've gathered. I always tell people it's like I'm like a hen gathering her chicks together because I just love the people that I work with. And then there's people that I've hired that are in Utah, and people in Florida, and people. One of our therapists, our assist, or she's a regional director who's was my first
Okay.
hire. She's an OT. She had surgery today. So I've been praying for her all day because it's just like, but I mean, it's just like she's been with me for 8 years now. It just
Yeah.
is, it matters. So you
Yeah.
take care of those people, right?
Yeah, the group of people really matters, and
Yeah.
I know that there's always bumps in the road, there's ups and downs, and I think it's so important for me to continue to learn, to keep growing in the profession. I'm expecting my staff to do that, to renew their licenses and so on, and I wanna give them professional development that is significant and matters and is important to their careers. I want to a couple of things. I want to, put us out of business, right? Because we want to have these kids
Mhm.
all do so well that when they bring it back to their home schools, they are spreading all of that, and unfortunately, we probably never will. There's always gonna be kids with intense needs. There's trauma in the world and so on. But the other thing I wanna do is really help staff to be the people they wanna be. And I am honest about knowing they're not necessarily going to be here forever, although
Right.
I have some who are like, "Yes, I am. I love the ALC. I'm staying here forever," and that's fantastic too.
Mhm.
So, same with kids. We have kids who say, "Well, we really like it here. We're not ready. We don't wanna
Mm.
transition back. We
Mhm.
do better because we're here,"
Oh, yeah.
and those things are okay too. But it's the empowerment and making sure that everybody, adults and kids, all know that they can do more if they wanna do more, and I encourage that always. I'm all about personal growth and so on. Oh, like
Yeah.
one thing I just learned, I thought this was funny, and maybe it's a takeaway. Um, when I was a teacher, I used to have I always have art and such, and I had a big sign that just said, "Why?" And the reason was to encourage them in English class, for example, to expand on their thinking, go deeper, tell me more. Now I discourage why in terms of where I am and where we
Mm.
are as staff. Saying why to someone who's presented something in an escalated mood or in a behavior situation or after something traumatic, if we say, "Why do you feel that way?" It almost comes across like a challenge.
Yeah.
Prove it. Prove it.
Mhm. Yeah, that makes it
Instead,
worse. Yeah.
yeah, if we come at it from the lens of, "Oh, what happened to you?" or "Thank you for trusting me, tell me more." It just changes everything, and it's those little things like that, as we learn them together and we share them, it improves our practice overall. And that is very meaningful when we're getting those things from one another through the course of our day and constantly debriefing and just
Yeah.
doing everything that we can to make improvements for not only the kids, their families, us, how we support one another, and the home districts, because they're still a part of these kids' lives. So,
You have to have a lot of empathy in your position to be able to do what you do. So, what are some ways, and you've given me a little bit of it, but there's a child that's just, no matter what you do, no matter what, how much you try to help them, no matter what, they keep returning. They're that difficult child, it's like, how do you love on them? How do you help them? What kinds of things can you give? Because every teacher's got that one. Can we just get that one kid out of my class?
Mhm.
What kind of advice would you give to them?
Some advice that I give is to either pretend they're my kid if you have to, right? Or
Yeah.
just think about them. Sometimes you can think about them as your own child. And I do have a lot of staff who look at these kids like almost as their own.
Hmm.
And, you just really, you care so much. And it can, sometimes that backfires because it can really get to you.
Hmm.
And I think if you remember ultimately that it's not about you, even when you've given them a button to push and they are
Hmm.
pushing it and pushing
Yeah.
it and pushing it, it's a distraction. There's so much underlying pressures on these kids coming from different places, some very, very deep, that if we can remember, it's not about me. Even though they said this or that or the other and they knew it would bother me, that ultimately is not it. If we can get to know them and find what lights them up so that they can, oh, you really do care about me.
Yeah.
And I like that we have the opportunity here to just say, okay, let's stop curriculum right now. Let's just deal. Let's
Hmm.
de-escalate always before de-escalation before expectation. And there's a whole lot of ways to say that, but I think we're really recognizing that when a kid is here and we're trying to get them back to math or whatever, that's not necessarily effective.
Right. Right.
um,
Sometimes school is not, you're just not going to get there. You're just
no, and
not.
if we don't get
Yeah.
school with them for 2 days, great. Let's get the other components in place. And we're moving forward. Student council just had some ideas today about, hey, they had a couple things they wanted to do. I found it very profound that these kids came together and said, here's something we want to develop. We want activities that we can share with kids for times that we are going to be away from each other, spring break, summer, and we want to teach each other things that we can do, whether it's coping skills or just games to play with your family, things like that. And I was like, that's amazing. The other one that they worked on today was um, getting to know each other better, and what are some things we can do to get to know each other better. And this one's the coolest. I had a student on student council who had been in a mediation with another student. Turned out beautiful because they both were shocked to see how much they had in common.
One thing I often hear from school leaders is, I just want a partner who puts students first. At Lighthouse Therapy, that's exactly what we do. We don't have outside investors and we don't answer to shareholders. Instead, we answer to school leaders like you, those listening to this podcast. Whether you're wanting virtual, hybrid, or in-person therapy, our systems are designed to make your life easier and your team stronger. We are a therapy company run by therapists for therapists for the betterment of students. Visit lighthouse-therapy.com/brighter together to learn how we can help you support your students this year. Ah.
This kid came to the student council meeting when the topic was, how do we get to know each other even better? And he said, why don't you do mediations with random kids? Like, there's
Wow.
not a problem, but
Mm-hmm.
we talked about what our
Cut
common
it off
goals
at the
are.
pass? Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what our
So
common
good.
goals are. Part of the process is what their common goals are and what do they have in common, and what would be some win-win solutions for them to get to what they wanna see in the classroom, for example. And I was like, "High five, buddy, that's
Yeah,
amazing. That's
that is
so great
amazing.
that's what you want." Um, but even the kids on student council, they can have a day, and you just have to remember it's gonna come back around. It will be it'll be okay.
Mhm.
And we tell our kids that, and then sometimes we forget our advice.
Yeah.
We say, "You are going to be okay." And it's good to tell kids that because I think in the moment they don't even believe that. And then
Mhm.
we forget that they're going to be okay, and we get frustrated too. We forget that we're gonna be okay. We might have stepped out of bounds, lost our cool, um, instead of tapping out and getting support from another colleague, but we're gonna be okay. We're gonna get past that too.
Yeah.
Um, Giving kids and adults opportunities to shine and show what they're proficient at already helps with that lovable feeling too. If we're struggling and we can see them in a moment of success, it helps everybody.
Yeah, and they don't get a lot of that because
No.
they're always in trouble and they're always they've come to you because they've had horrible experiences, and
Mhm. I
giving them
think
that
so too.
opportunity, it's beautiful. It's beautiful that you can do that and that 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 you're taking them to a place. I love that. I talked to a gentleman in Michigan who they started doing alternative schools, and now they have tons of them. And just his passion and love for the kids and wanting high school kids to get a diploma. That's
Mhm.
part of what they do, and it just is. It's so it they I don't know, it's just not enough words to go to have somebody who wants them to be successful in their life is just a beautiful thing.
It is, and we're really lucky. We have so many fabulous parents, and they are trying their best. And
Mhm.
so together with us trying our best and them trying their best and getting more people on teams. Some are on even a wraparound team with more community members supporting and bringing to the table things that someone else has never thought of. We're lucky that way. And some of our kids are older and they come to us older. And so the way that they've been doing things is the way they've been doing things. And
Mm.
it works for them, but it doesn't necessarily work out there in
Right.
society or in the
Yeah.
mainstream. And so we're trying to not not reprogram, just help them see there's other ways I can do this and it will
Mhm.
also work for me. And so together a lot of times we come up with some pretty good solutions and then we celebrate when the kids transition back to
Right.
their homeschool and the whole school gives them a clap out and everything's very exciting, but we also celebrate when they come in the door.
Yeah.
Yay, you're here, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And when they're getting character awards and such, it's nice to let them feel what we see when we see greatness. So we put it in
Mhm.
writing and we put it
Awesome.
on a piece of paper and we get them their picture. And so we have fun too. And I
Mhm.
think that it's important because school is school.
Mhm.
You don't like school, you don't like school. You don't have to have a behavior IEP to say, I don't like school.
Right.
School's tough.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody. So we are fortunate to have, 13 different districts filtering in. And right now we have 44 kids, small. And so we can all come together. Like one of the things we do every Friday is Fun Friday. And if you are in a separate room, you are in trouble, you haven't done any work all day, you're still invited. You're part of
Ah,
the family. So you
right.
come and kids know it. I had a kid in here the other day, Friday, and he said, I know we're talking about a lot of things. "Are we doing Fun Friday, though?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, shoot, it is that. Get out there."
Yeah.
And so I think that giving everybody something to look forward to, and, I get
Yeah.
times where I'm like, "I'm not doing enough of that."
Yeah.
I swear I'm working every minute that I possibly can, but I always wanna do more. I do.
Mm. Mhm.
Um, and
Yeah.
so letting people help me do more is my way to give as much as I can.
Right.
And I
What
think
grade
that
are
that's
they when
important.
they come to you? Like,
It
are you
depends.
only high school or do you
Nope,
do
we
yeah.
are K through transition, and transition is, after high school.
Mhm.
Um, so it just depends. We might have kids who tried, they had a functional behavior assessment, they went on a behavior intervention plan at their home school, they went through a bunch of channels to try to make change, and sometimes when we work together, the kid never needs to come. We figure it out, they don't need to come. Um, when they do, then we just do a process of going over and seeing them there, seeing so we can see what's happening,
Right.
and then having them come here for a visit and a tour. And almost always the kids are like, "Can I start tomorrow?" I mean,
Uh,
it's just a different
yeah.
opportunity. Um, and some of them just need change right now. Um, Sometimes we get to the point with a kid here, they're not necessarily ready, but they need a change, or it's going to go backwards. And
Right.
and so we recognize those things too,
Right.
which is good. So we get them at all ages. And I know there's a lot of schools like this, and there's a lot of units within um, a regular district, kind of off on the side.
Mhm.
And it has been beneficial for kids to see that there are other kids who struggle, whatever it is, whatever
Right.
sets them off or makes them e- accelerate their behavior a little bit. They're not alone. Other people experience it, so we can have these conversations where they might feel singled out because they're the only one struggling like that in a particular larger classroom. Um, and sometimes it's a problem. They'll feed off each other, and we have a
Mm.
moment, and then we have to have a
Yeah.
whole class meeting and go through what do we really want here. So that kids have seen a lot of success,
Mhm.
and families know that they can reach out, we can work together, we can get more people involved, and we can do all the things, and we still can struggle.
Yeah.
But we're a team, so we'll struggle together, and we'll figure it out together, and we're not going to quit
Yeah.
and stop trying.
Well, and that's the beauty of it for them is that you're not gonna give up on them, and they know that you're not gonna give up on them, and they may not know that when they start, but as they get to know you and trust you, um, that's
I know.
wow.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah. So do some of them graduate from the
Mhm.
alternative learning center? So you do have kids that
Yep.
just stay and then they graduate with and
Yep.
go,
We had a graduation, mid-year this year.
"Oh,
She was
nice.
able to knock it out in the first semester, and so now some of our older high schoolers are kind of reined in a little bit, right? They're like, "Wait, I wanna be able to do that next year. I'm only a
Yeah.
junior. Well, I'm a sophomore,
Yeah.
and I wanna get out at the end of my junior year," you think? So,
Ah.
we can work with them. What we
Mhm.
want is for them to have a diploma.
Mhm.
Some kids go back and then they earn it. Their diploma will read their homeschool because we're an extension of the homeschool. So
Right.
it's gonna come from where they come from, and they still can do all the activities and everything that they wanna do at their homeschool as long as they're eligible. So that also
Mhm.
encourages good grades and hard
Grades.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good grades. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Wow. Well, Juliene, it has been an incredible conversation. Obviously, you're very passionate. The kids win because of your passion and because of what you're doing and because of the people that you have around you. And I love that for them. And I love that for Sandusky. And I love that for those 44 kids and all of the kids that come before them and all of the kids that are going to come after, because
Yep.
it isn't just 44 kids. It's a whole line of students that you've touched. And that's the beauty of education, isn't it?
It is. It is. It's
Yeah.
hard when they go because you wonder, oh, how are they doing? What's going on? That's probably the hardest
Yeah.
part of education.
Yeah.
That's the other wellness piece. You've gotta let go when you need to let go, and you just hold on tight when you need to do that also. And then the kids come around. They really do.
Sounds like parenting too, doesn't it?
It
Yeah.
really is so parallel. And
Yeah.
I've always said that I'm a better mother because I'm an educator, and
Yeah.
I'm a better educator because I'm a mother.
Mhm.
Um, and even if you're not and you're in education, you are getting a taste of what parenting is all about for sure,
Mhm. Oh, for sure.
without question.
Yeah.
Um, but it's been a journey, and it's been a lot of fun and a lot of continued learning, and I've just really been enjoying it, and I'm in a good place. So the kids and the families, I hope they feel like they're in a good place too. It's really
Yeah.
important, and the
Yeah.
staff and everyone. So
So where do people go if they want to learn a little bit more, or maybe they have a question that they think that you might be able to answer for them?
they could look up North Point Educational Service Center online, and there is a website there. My email is jhaskins, Haskins, at npesc.org for North Point Educational Service Center.org. And I'm a schoolie at heart, so I'm always
Yeah.
working.
Yeah. I hear you. I hear you. Well, thank you. It has been an absolute pleasure. I know there are so many nuggets that of wisdom that we've gotten from this. I'm excited to see how because they take the whole thing and then we give you the audio and then we get through the video, but then they break it up and they give you like nuggets that you can use. And I'm just always fascinated with how they do that. My editing team. I don't
I
do
know,
that
that's
part.
cool.
I got
That's
really
cool.
smart people on the back end that do all of that stuff. I don't do that stuff.
That's so fun. Can I tell you one thing that I heard in one of
Sure.
your podcasts that I thought, I don't know. I want to see how she feels about this other flip philosophy. So you had said something, you were in a conversation about, doing all the uh, response to intervention work and the multi-tiered systems of
Uh-huh.
support.
MTSS.
And
Uh-huh.
that hopefully you get through those things, and then a child doesn't have to go on an IEP.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because in my heart, I was like, oh, the ideal world, everyone would be on an IEP.
Well,
And
yeah,
we would
for
all
sure.
have
Yeah. Yeah.
specialized, individualized education. And like right away, I was like, oh, but
Yeah. So the point I think of the conversation was not into special education, right?
yeah, yeah,
So identifying a child when they're little
early.
and going, oh, we can do this thing that will help them. We can give them this 6-week intervention that will bring them up. I had that for myself. It wasn't called MTSS
Yeah, right.
45 years ago. 50 years ago, whatever it was probably more like 50 years ago because I couldn't read. I went from second grade to third grade and I wasn't reading well. And I went to summer school. I was the stupid kid that had to go to summer school,
Summer
and
school.
that's what it felt like for me at that time. But that intervention changed my life, right? It changed my educational path. I
Absolutely.
hated school. And then I got to the place where I could read and it was fun and I loved school again. And so giving them that ability to be able to function and not have to have extra support because there is a stigma that comes with being on an IEP that kids,
I
is
wish there
big. Yeah.
wasn't. I wish
I wish there
that's my
wasn't either.
point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
wish there
I
wasn't a
agree with you.
stigma.
Every child, and I've talked about this on the show before too. There is definitely a movement in the United States and in education that I've seen, and I love it because we're finally looking at each child and going, this is how this child learns. This is the things that this child loves. These are the things that he wants or she wants to do in the future. So let's tailor that education and their program to them. Individualized education on a all child level, not in just special education, but in every single child that comes
Tier
through.
1. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful, wouldn't it be? And I think that
Yeah.
I think there's movement towards that, but I think AI is going to make movement towards that so much easier, because it's going to allow for more looking at the child's scores and looking at not just the data, but it can take that data, and it can take the information about that child and all these other crazy things that we do as
Yeah.
educators
That
and
quickly.
boil it down in 2 seconds. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then go, hey, this is
Exciting.
probably a pathway that would be really great for this child. And maybe there's people that put it in, and maybe there's a parent questionnaire. I don't know. I'm not the AI expert, but I know that it is something that's coming, and having the ability to, first of all, identify kids that are struggling before they get too far along is amazing, and give them that MTSS support, but also taking all children and going, hey, you're going to be
Unique.
really amazing at this thing. Let's give you the tools to do that thing. And if you don't like it, so what? Well, we can pivot. Like you were talking about, let's pivot on a dime. When you have that ability, you absolutely can. And I love to see that in education, because it's education in the 21st century. And that's really where education needs to be. And people are doing it. I know they are. So thanks for asking me that question. That's a great question.
Yeah. I thought about that, and I like that. And I think everything you were saying about giving them exactly what they need, that's part of being able to love the tough kid. Once you give them everything they need, it all becomes easier. It really, really does.
Yeah. And when you tailor it to how they learn, and I've said before too, no child intends to be bad. I know there's things that kids do that it looks like they're just trying to be bad, but there's always underlying stuff that's going on with them, whether they can express it or not, or sometimes you have to be the detective to figure it out, right? And that's what you do a lot. But kids aren't inherently bad. They're not. And that's why I love the fact that there are programs like what you're doing, because it's a tough job, but the kids are learning and loved because of it. So keep up the good work.
I'm glad. Thank you so much. I'm happy to have spoken to you, and keep up the things that you are doing, putting it out there, giving us all an avenue to explore other people's experiences and maybe get a little something out of it. I think that's
I'm telling you, God is using this show in ways I can't even imagine. He's this about me. I'm a Christian, and God has been so incredibly faithful with everything that I do, because I keep giving it back to him, because ultimately, we can't take any of it with us, but we can take the love that we give to others with us. And that's the part, we're putting that forward. We're moving that forward. So sending it on ahead, send the love on ahead. I love that.
Absolutely.
And that's why I love education and service so much too. There's no price tag you can put on that. No price tag. So
nope, none at all.
All right. Well, God bless you. It's been great to have you on the show. I can't wait to see the reels and see what they do.
I know.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be great. So have a great rest of it's for those of you that are listening to this when it comes out. Today is February 25th. So have a great rest of this semester.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much.